Hello! Welcome to my craft room. My name is Deanna Gonzalez and I wanted to show you something that you can make a lot of, rather simply, not too complicated, but also something that would stand out, something that has dimension and would still seem very special. So I did go ahead and use Stampin' Up's My Digital Studio to make this, this banner part with the tree. And then I just used their Always Artichoke cardstock here, the Cherry Cobbler, for the card base. And on the inside, I used this stamp set here. It's this special season. Actually, here you can see it better, where I used this Christmas greeting to be able to put on the inside, where it says, "May you enjoy the beauty, warmth, and memories of this special season." I really liked that. So what I did was I took the Merry and Bright stamp set for the Christmas tree and put that on the season's, I will have to, you'll be able to see which one exactly it is. I can't remember, but it's one of the elements where it's the cards that you can put, and I went and used it for this. I believe it's for the special My Life kind of photo kind of things, but I like to make cards, and so I used it for that reason. So I did add the sparkle rhinestones to give it sparkly dimension, so that the tree would come alive and feel so special without having to cut it out and pop it out, because that would take so much time and my wrist would probably want to fall off, right? So I was thinking, what could we do that we could make a whole lot of and make it look fancy without killing our poor little wrists? So, and in case you don't have an embossing, or not an embossing, a huge, one of the die cutting systems that cuts out like the lacy trees and everything, well then, this might work better for you. So I went ahead and, to give it that extra pop here, I went ahead and used their Stampin' Up's seasonal embossing folder. Now, it's in their current holiday catalog, so this might be, the only catalog they have it in. It's the Stylish Stripes Textured Impressions embossing folder. And this catalog is good until January 2nd, so you'll be able to get that until then. And the stamp set, again, is the special season, and I used that sentiment. And so if you want to come with me to the My Digital Studio, we'll go ahead and make this part here right now. So now that I have the My Digital Studio program open, I'm just going to go ahead and make a custom size thing here. So just going to go ahead, 8.5 by 11, simple as that, create project. Just call this the Christmas tree card. Sure, why not, right? And hit OK. And here I go. I'm going to go ahead and first I'm going to, if you see I'm up in this little area, I'm going to go ahead and I want to go for embellishments. Now what I have selected is Seasons of Style Pocket, the pocket cards embellishments. Now you can come here and if you own it, you can always find it scrolling through here when you're browsing, but I already have it open here. So I'm going to go ahead and scroll, well, maybe I'll scroll up. Sorry. Let me see. Slowly scroll down until I find the one I'm looking for. And of course, I'm not finding it right now. There we go. It was right here, right? So I'm just going to drag this on over. And because if you scale it any larger than what the picture is, it can get very pixelated and not look very nice. I'm going to go ahead and leave it this size. Now to decorate this, you can use so many different things, but I went ahead and just took a stamp, and it's just Bright Hopes stamp set. And I went ahead and took the tree and brought it over here, just kind of moving it, scaling it down just a little bit, just kind of eyeballing it the best I could. Thank you for your patience while I figure this out. Then just sort of deciding where I want my tree to be, and I kind of like it so that the bottom of the tree is very much by this, but then I don't want the top to be too far up. I think I do need to size this just a little bit smaller to bring that in here just exactly where I want it. And I'm liking this. So now I want to make 4 of these because 4 will fit on a page and make it really easy. So I'm just going to go ahead and select the entire thing. And now I'm going to go ahead and hit Control C for copy. And you could go up to, is it File? I don't copy this way anymore. You could just go to Edit and Copy, and it always tells you the shortcut here. And if you learn those, if you take the pains to learn those, doing this can be so much easier. So now that I've copied, I'm going to go ahead and hit Control V, and I can move this over. And if I want, I can just use my arrow keys, and we could even line it up so cutting could be really easy. Just kind of looks like that would be about right. Move that on over. If I want to make this really easy, I'm just going to go ahead and, oh, it's not, there we go. I'm going to go ahead and hit Control C there, unselect, hit Control V, and now I can move these 2 down. And doing this is going to make it so much easier. So now we want to go ahead and print. So you can either go up here to do print or hit Control P. And I'm going to go ahead and save it just because. Anyway, so we just want to make sure that our tags are inside this dotted border, and they are. And I've already gotten all my settings just the way I want it to be. So I'm going to go ahead and hit preview because it gets the resolution just fine. Sometimes it prints out perfectly, and sometimes I find I really wish I had done that. So now this is exactly what it's going to look like when we print it up. And we're going to go ahead and hit print. Now that you have the whole sheet of the 4 of these on one page, if you could just cut all of these out, you know, and multiplying, of course, I don't know how many you're doing, but, you know, we'll just calculate as 4, and then you could, you know, just continue on. So if we cut out 4 of these and take 2 sheets of the cherry cobbler, cut them in half, at the 5.5, and then score it at 4 1/4. So we have 4 of those, and then cut out, taking Whisper White, just cutting these, making them at the 5 1/4 by 4 and no, just 4, 5 1/4 by 4. How simple! And that way it just fits into our card nice and neatly. So if you just cut out however many you need of those, and then the Always Artichoke, I cut this at, it's honestly 1 line before, like 1/8 less before the 5, but you can go ahead and do 5 if that's easier for you. And then 3 3/4. And then that will fit in here very nicely. And you can choose which side of the embossing you like better. Now if you don't have this embossing folder, or first of all, if you don't have any embossing thing at all, you can always just put the green cardstock on here and it'll still look very beautiful. If you want to add a little bit more dimension, you could daub the edges if you can't really emboss. So if you just run this through your embossing machine, 4 per, since we're doing 4, think of this in 4s, do 4 of those. That's going to help. And then we can get started with the assembling. So I'm going to go ahead and first, just so that this can dry a little bit, I'll do the stamping. So one thing that I think would help is using the Stampin'-A-Jig. That way you can just constantly take all your little stack of Whisper White cardstock and just be taking it, stamping, stamp, you know, kind of go through them all, lay them out, let them dry while you're doing all of them, and making sure that they lay just where you want them to be. So I will go ahead and line this up where I want this to be. Just get this right here. If you want, you can always just temporarily have like some tape down here. And one thing I did want to point out, if you want to have a lot of room to write and you kind of feel like you'd rather have the sentiment of your card up here, you can go ahead and do that. If you want it to be sort of in the middle, like the average card that you buy at the store, you can go ahead and do that as well, just depending on your preference. But that's what's nice about you being the one to stamp your sentiment, right? You put it exactly where you want it to be. So just making sure we ink that well, and I splooched a bit on the outside, so I'll try to be careful when I press down so I don't get that splooch actually on the cardstock. And there we go, and it's not absolutely perfect, but I still think it looks beautiful. And I did use the Always Artichoke ink to go with the beautiful Always Artichoke. embossed piece. So go ahead and get this all cleaned up. And once you're done doing your whole slew of cards, if you find that your stamp is a little difficult to clean off, you can always go upstairs. Well, I'm thinking upstairs because that's where my sink is. You can always go and rinse it off, I mean. You can just rinse it off and you'll be good right there. So anyway, we're just going to put this off to the side, let it dry a little bit, and go ahead and attach. We're going to go ahead and attach the outside. Now, on this one, I went ahead and did the stripes this way. I liked that extra push. And then, but this is how it could also look, just so you can see it. That with the indent stripe, that looks really nice too. I'm going to go ahead and do it the way I had done it before, just so they match. Although the Christmas tree isn't going to match, so I don't know why I'm doing that. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and take a tape runner. You can take whatever. Actually, no, I'm not, because tape runner might be difficult with the embossing. I'll take a little bit of a stronger glue, and I'm just going to take some liquid glass. You could use the Crystal Effects from Stampin' Up! If you're just using one company. I like to mix and match companies, but that's okay. You know, do whatever you want to do, whatever you're most comfortable with. But on the edges, because I've noticed if the Crystal Effects oozes out on the edges, you know, it can be a little harder to clean off. It doesn't dry, you know, sticky, and it's very pretty, but you know, I don't really want it to be on the edges. So I'm just going to go ahead with the Elegance glue and get that there. And put this centered the best that I can. It's not always going to be perfect, so you don't have to worry. You just do, you know, eyeball it the best you can, you know, and chances are the person, if it's not absolutely perfect, is not going to notice. They're just going to love the fact that you cared so much enough to make them something. So here we go. We've got that layer down. And now I'm going to want to attach, actually I'm going to need this again, aren't I? I'm going to want to attach my Christmas tree before I go ahead and embellish it, make it look all pretty, because if I do that first, it's going to be a little more difficult to then attach it onto my card. So I will go ahead, and now I'll use my tape runner, just pull it up a little bit. And so far I have really, really loved my Exiron big old running thing. You know, it's easy to handle, and I really like it. So again, I'll just put a little bit of Elegance glue so that the edges don't pop up. I don't like it when my cards will have edges that can easily be pulled off, or you can see it just sort of looks like it's coming undone, and I really don't like that. So if you don't really care and you just want to make this as fast and easy as possible, just slap the tape on, slap it on down, or put a little glob of glue and go on from there. But even when trying to be fast, I have to make sure it's going to dry the way I want it to, or it'll drive me crazy. So here I'm going to just go ahead and put that down. That looks pretty good to me. And now you can decorate your tree many ways. And again, if you wanted, you could use puff tape and pop this out even further, but I was trying to think of a way to do this with as little expense and as quick as possible. So keeping the little expense in mind, now I did use the rhinestones on this tree, the two sizes, the medium here and the small, to do, and I just kind of decided, you know, here and there where I thought it would look good. I always want to make sure that the flower has a little something in the middle, and you know, I liked this setup. But rhinestones can, of course, if you're making tons and tons, can get a little bit on the pricier side of life. So to solve that problem, if you have to make a lot of these, you may not want to go with the rhinestone. I went ahead and did liquid pearls. Again, as you can see, they're beautiful, they pop out. When they dry very nicely and very flat and just beautiful, and they mail very, very well. And I just made sure I put the little dots in the same spots I had done the rhinestones. So it's up to you really, whatever you prefer, whichever look or price range or what have you. So I will show you doing this with the liquid pearls. Actually, let me put this out of the way. So so that we don't have like light issues. Get stuff out of the way here. So I'm going to go ahead and use these liquid pearls. I always keep them upside down because if I don't, it's harder to get the stuff started when I first start putting it down. So just leave that open. So I'm going to go ahead, and you are going to want to leave these, let these sit out and dry. Actually, so because I'm going to do that, right? I probably should put my insert in first. Let's do that, shall we? I think this is dry enough. So again, this time I don't need to glue the outsides because it's going to be on the inside of the card, and I'm not really worried about peeling up. It shouldn't be too bad. You just need something to sort of hold it in place. So I'm going to do that and make sure it's laying, again, as even as possible. I know it's not always easy. And I'm not going to try to rub the ink. What I like to do is just sort of close the card and rub it like that so that I know it's there and I didn't just smidge it all over the place and drive myself crazy. So I'm just going to use some liquid pearls and go ahead in here, and we're just going to follow, I want to follow this pattern because I ended up liking it. And I probably shouldn't just start with the flower, I just really had so much fun with that. So just putting like kind of a bigger dot there, another dollop here, we'll just go in a line here. Put one in the flower, really liking that. And then I want one right here, right? And then on this one, I'm going to go ahead and put them right here. That's actually where I put the sparkly bits, but I hadn't noticed. And as you can see, even though this kind of looks funny, there's a little middle bloopy, it settles down and then it looks like this when it dries. So it will look nice. Then on this little dot here, the green dot here, I went ahead and just went ahead and put some there as well. And then something about here, just to give it almost like a triangular-y look here. It just kind of sits really well. I'm sure there'd be like some sort of a design theory. And then just a little bit down here, just to give it another little something. So that's what I did. And you could always add a ton more if you want it to look like, you know, a gob of ornaments. You could mix match colors. But this was what I had it in stock right now with me, so I went ahead and did it this way. So now you can see the difference of the two and decide which one is definitely for you. And I hope that you actually like this idea, and we'll give it a try. If you don't have the My Digital Studio program, you could always use a Christmas, you know, just kind of make your own little, you could do cherry cobbler, the always artichoke, maybe another cherry cobbler or another shade of red, and then cut a white little, just a strip, and then make a little inside V and stamp a tree if you have a stamped tree, or stamp some sort of Christmas, you know, stamp, and you could make your card that way too. Don't ever be intimidated if you watch one of my videos and you don't quite have exactly what I'm using. You know, use your imagination. Just grab what you do have so that you don't feel, you know, pressured to go out and get more stuff if you don't want to. But if you want to, if you always want a new idea for, oh, you know, I just had to purchase it, you know, if you need that fun little oomph, then, you know, hopefully you'll like this idea and you'll want to go find some fun stuff to play with. So thank you for joining me. I really hope you like this idea. I really want to help, if I can, in any way, make Christmas and, you know, not seem too tense and overwhelming. You know, this honestly, it might seem a little daunting, but it really doesn't take very much time, honestly. You can, you know, once you get in the swing of things where you're like cutting everything out and laying it all down and doing everything all at once, it really actually can go pretty quickly. So I hope you like this idea. I hope you're enjoying the things I'm showing on my blog, and I hope you continue to come back and have fun and craft with me. So have yourself a wonderful, wonderful Christmas season, and please keep spending time with me. I love spending time with you. Have a great day. Goodbye.